Toastmasters Club. Before we move on to what we have in store for you today, let me execute the duties assigned to me. The vision and mission of Toastmasters. It is to provide a mutually supportive and positive learning experience by which our members develop communication and leadership skills, thus resulting in greater self-confidence and personal. I have a question for all of you. Can you share with me or share with us that one experience where it was merely your determination that made you achieve something or pursue something against all odds, and how you felt after that achievement? Is there anyone here? Anyone?
Guys, everyone knows that I lost a hell lot of weight. I think it was only the determination which I had, which took me along. And it was my why that pushed my how. And also a change of career at the post 35 is, it's not a joke. So these two things in my life have been the only absolute dedication, and the sheer commitment which could have pushed me. Sometimes even I don't believe when I look back, I could have done that.
How did you feel after this achievement, sir?
Unbelievable. If I were to, you'd ask me to do it again, I probably think that I can't do it anymore. It happens, when you're so determined to do something and you just go through it, and after that you feel it's impossible. Probably you can't repeat. It was only once, and it feels good. It feels good. I've heard somewhere that do something you think it is impossible at least once in a year. Be it going and speaking to someone, being losing weight, being getting rid of an addiction, starting to ruin anything which you think it's impossible for you, at least once in a year. That changes us a lot.
Is there anyone else who would like to share an experience? Kriti, Darshini, Saumini, Kirtana ma'am? No one? Okay. I give it here. But this is once you are addicted to something, addicted to the reward you get from it, and then there's no stopping again. There's no looking back. You just move forward with that same determination and commitment and focus on everything you do in your life. So, okay. Before we move on to the meeting, I request you all to abide by certain rules. Kindly keep your mics on mute unless you want to talk. Refrain from talking about religion, sex, and politics. Please restrain yourselves from using cell phones, and last but not the least, do keep your videos on because maintaining eye contact is an essential part of a healthy communication. I now hand over the proceeding. I now hand over the control to our presiding officer, Toastmaster Vijay Surana.
Thank you, Toastmaster Priyanka. Love the energy you bring along. We missed you so much at Vellore Toastmasters Club. I'm sure all of our members must accept to it. Show me some thumbs up for Priyanka for coming back better. Welcome back, Priyanka. Friends, this meeting marks the end of the first term of this year, which concludes on the June 30th. In fact, I was so longing to see Toastmaster Priyanka play the Sergeant at Arms today. There's an aura she brings along. And besides, this would be the last meeting she'd play a most suited role while still holding the position. Good to have you back. Toastmasters, a new dawn is ahead of us as we look forward to embark on a fresh journey with a different role and responsibilities, each one of us. Let me first take this opportunity to thank the untiring efforts put in by the outgoing XCOM. I should mention that the last term perhaps was the best so far in the history of Fellow Toastmasters Club. A big round of applause for all the outgoing XCOM members. And I'd like to share my heartfelt gratitude to each of the club leaders. With the new team in charge, beginning next week, you may look forward to greater things ahead. Let us all grow together. With this, let me declare open the session number 82 of Vellore Toastmasters Club. Friends, I believe that a goal without a date is never a goal at all. If you have a goal, a desire, you've got to be adamant about it. You need to have a plan, an agenda, a schedule to work on it and achieve it. The thought process should never be if I reach my goal. It should rather be when I reach my goal. And this will change the course. A Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Sadhana, will walk us through more details on how to be adamant with your desires. Now, before a Toastmaster of the day takes over, let me acknowledge the presence of any guest if there are. Are there any guests today? No. I think the meeting is only with the club members today. So we'll skip this and over to Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Sadhana.
Thank you all. My dear Toastmasters and guests, a charming welcome to all. This is Toastmaster Sadhana Chidambaram, your Toastmaster of the day. Do you know, I have one famous quote for you. It gives me a pleasure indeed to see the stubbornness of an incorrigible, non-conformistic, warmly acclaimed, said by Albert Einstein. It gives me a great pleasure indeed to see the stubbornness of an incorrigible, non-conformistic, warmly acclaimed. Okay, let me explain you this quote in a clear way. A person whose behavior or a view do not conform to prevailing ideas or practice, the person should be in challenging tradition ways and means. This was Albert Einstein too. A stubbornness people in the challenging is this quote explains us clearly. So we have to be challenging in our new ways and new means. Ladies and gentlemen, and it's time to present our theme of the day. Be adamant with your desires. Be adamant with your desires, theme of the day. Adamant. Sadhana, where this word comes under negative, right? Oh, not so. It's depend upon your vantage point. I'm just telling you to be adamant or stubborn with your own desires. That desires may be your dream car, dream home, dream job, ambitions, salary packages, etc. Any self developing things. To be more clear, being stubbornness can be good thing. Being stubbornness can be bad thing. It just depends on your how you use it. Said by Willie's ends. Now you could get something about our theme of the day. Here, every positive, stubborn minded person definitely will have a master or a mentor to discuss and to correct his mistakes. So, as the same way, here we have a mentor called General Evaluator. With a supportive mentor like time manager, mistake founder, and gap fillers. Over to the sessions mentor, general evaluator of the day, Toastmaster Dashini. Toastmaster Dashini, general evaluator of the day, over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and my dear guests. We all grew up from being adamant to sacrificing our own needs. Being adamant is good at times. We all have desires. In fact, the idea of what you want and what you don't want regularly keeps popping in and out of our heads. It's very important to make sure your desires are in line with your life goals. It's equally important to know how to be adamant at times. Our desires won't work unless we figure out how to be adamant. For the benefit of our guests, our meeting comprises of three segments: the prepared speeches, the table topic speeches, and the evaluation. I will be the general evaluator for today, and I'll be conducting the evaluation segment of our meeting. To evaluate three important elements, we have a tag team, the timer, the R counter, and the grammarian. To explain their roles, let's call our timer for today, Toastmaster Tharun.
Am I audible and visible? Okay. Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Desire will be one more task in our checklist unless we have small time-bound targets to achieve. So, time plays a very important role in converting our desire into reality. So, my role as a timer is to ensure that every speaker in the meeting speaks in their own time slot. So, I have a framework with me. First, prepared speeches, 5 to 7 minutes. Second, table topics, 1 to 2 minutes. And third, evaluation, 2 to 3 minutes. So I have some important points with me. First, I will be using a tool, a stopwatch with me. And second, you will get a buffer time of 30 seconds, which is not included in your real timings. Third, and the most important one, a caution. Once you cross your upper limit of your time, you will be disqualified for voting, which means you won't be eligible for a best speaker or best table topic speaker or best evaluator. And fourth, it's a small request that when you start your speech, you can just inform me that yes, timer, I'm ready, so that I can switch on my timer. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Harun. Next, we have the R counter for today, Toastmaster Shanti. Mom, you're on mute, so if you could take turn on your mic.
Sorry. Okay. I am Shanti. Okay. Now I want to do the role R counter. What is the necessity of R counter means? Some filler words we have to use in our speech. It is a negative thought will be creating in the another person's. So that reason we have to reduce our unwanted and unnecessary words in our speeches. That is to note and keep track of words and sounds used as a crutch or fast filler by anyone who speaks during the meeting. And also the use of inappropriate interjunctions such as and well, but and so, like similarly sounds may be continuously they have to use to means these are unwanted words and filler words. So we have to reduce our speech. Okay. Similarly, will be send the maybe audible click means it also unwanted something will be creating to listeners. So that reason we have to reduce our speech. Myself, I have to calculate these filler words. Thank you. Now change over to Toastmaster Soumini. That's our Darshini.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shanti. Up next, we have the grammarian for today, Toastmaster Soumini.
Thank you, General Evaluator. When we desire for things, the fact that we desire them strong enough is not just enough to attain them. Desire takes us halfway through. The rest is how well diplomatically we move the coins. Most of the time, all of it depends upon the right questions that we ask. You might have the right content in asking the questions, but what if you start the question with the wrong word? For example, we start most of the sentences with can and may, but we most definitely are misplacing them, which alter the whole meaning of the question. The word can describes your ability to do something, and may is used to ask someone to do something, which means asking for permission. How many times have we asked our teachers, can I enter the room? Well, of course you can enter if you have the good locomotion to enter, if you are physically able to enter. But what you are actually asking there is permission to enter the room, which should actually be, may I enter the room? Such as this, being cautious of our grammar usages is very important. And as grammarian today, I will be making note of 3 things from your speeches. The brilliant usage of the English language, the usages that require improvement, and the mispronunciations, and give my report at the end. Now, coming to introducing you all to the word of the day and going the other way around as I always do, the meaning of today's word, it is a synonym of the word desire. It is to feel a desire or liking for something. Now, this word is very commonly used among us for its other meanings. So, potentially, this word has two different meanings. We use the other meaning for this word vastly everywhere. So, any guesses?
Aspire?
No.
Dream.
No. Okay, I'll give you another clue. Children usually have these competitions. The one competition that is a constant in all kindergarten or 1 to 5 classes.
A race.
No, okay. So that was actually. Would anybody else like to try? So the competition that children usually have is fancy dress competition. And today's word of the day is fancy. As surprising as it may sound, we know fancy means elaborate, grand, and fancy, right? But the other meaning of fancy means to desire, to want, or crave something so bad. For example, I fancy rava dosa for breakfast. Another example would be, do you fancy a drink? Which means asking someone if they want a drink. So, would anyone like to give it a try? Would anyone fancy to give a try? No. Okay. Thank you.
Soda after a heavy meal.
Clearly, Priyanka. Clearly. Thank you, Priyanka. Over to the general evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Saumini. All the best to all the speakers and role players. With this, I would like to hand over the session to our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Sadhana.
Sadhana, you're muted.
Yes. Am I audible now? It's Thank you, General Evaluator, for your wonderful introduction. And now it's time for the speakers. We have the first speaker of the today's session is Toastmaster Priyanka. And before I call upon Toastmaster Priyanka, let me call a evaluator, the power bank of VTC, Toastmaster Vijay Sunana, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. I have always fancied to be the evaluator of Toastmaster Priyanka. Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Hello once again, friends. I am here to evaluate Toastmaster Priyanka's speech today. She will be delivering her Level 1 Project 3 speech, which is Research and Presentation. For the benefit of the members and the guests, let me inform the following. The purpose of this project is for a member to learn or review basic research methods and present a well-organized, well-researched speech on any topic of her choice. The purpose of this speech is for the member to present a speech of about 5 to 7 minutes on any topic of their choice which may have been researched about. Toastmaster Priyanka's objective is to deliver a well organized speech, and I shall be evaluating her based on the quality of the research done and the knowledge so shared. The speech also will be assessed on the broad lines with regard to the clarity of the speech, the vocal variety, the eye contact, and gestures, the audience awareness, and her comfort level while delivering the speech. I shall provide with my report when called upon. Here's wishing Toastmaster Priyanka the best of luck. Over to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vijay, sir. Now let's call our first speaker, Toastmaster Priyanka. Toastmaster Priyanka, why do we do the things we do the reward system? Why do we do the things we do the reward system? Toastmaster Priyanka, over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vijay and General Evaluator Toastmaster Sadhana. I want to start off with a question. If given the choice between a plate of cake and a plate of carrots and cucumber salad, which one would you go for? Well, if you ask me, I would blindly go for a cake because it tastes way better than a plate of boring salad, right? But it's not as simple as we think. The real answer lies in why we do the things we do or why we act in certain ways. Two things that drive human actions are necessities, that is, food, clothing, and shelter, and rewards. A reward can be any activity, feeling, object, or event that drives us or causes us to learn or do a particular action. But how does our brain translate this reward into action? During our very first experience with a reward, our brain releases a chemical called dopamine that travels to different parts of the brain, namely the amygdala, that processes the trigger cues and also determines if a particular activity or experience was rewarding or aversive. The nuclear accumbens that processes the behavior required, the prefrontal cortex that controls attention, planning, and choices made, and lastly, the hippocampus that's responsible for the formation of memories. Hence, when the dopamine travels along this path, it basically tells your body that this particular experience felt good and you can repeat it in future. This stimuli or trigger can be anything right from food, sleep, or even posting a picture on social media for the amount of likes you get. Research shows us that almost any normal activity that we find pleasure in, like can be listening to great music or glancing at the face of the person we love, can activate the reward system. And when this happens, not only are we stimulated, but these circuits enable our brains to encode and remember every circumstance that led to this particular pleasure so that we repeat the behavior in future and seek rewards. Now, just imagine how tedious and exhausting would it be if you had to relearn a particular activity every time you do it, as simple as combing your hair or tying a shoelace. All these everyday habits are performed by our cognitive system. However, not every action that we do becomes a habit. Your brain has to choose that what should be laid down as a habit and what not to do again. We learn a particular behavior or a certain way of carrying out a task and make it a habit depending on how rewarding is it. And this is why it is known as the reward-based learning. Every habit starts with a psychological pattern called the habit loop. It starts with the cue. Say, for example, a trigger. You notice your hair is unkempt. The behavior, that is the routine task you carry out. And finally, the reward, which helps your brain to figure out if this particular loop is worth remembering for future or worth to be repeated in future. All our habit-making behaviors is associated with the part of the brain known as the basal ganglia, which also plays a key role in the development of emotions, memories, and pattern recognition. But as soon as a behavior becomes automatic, this in fact completely shuts down the brain. And this is a real advantage because it means you can use this whole mental activity to in doing some other activity. Say, for example, this is the reason why we can listen to music while driving cars or sip a hot cup of coffee or tea while reading newspapers. Getting back to the question, why cake? This dates back to those caveman days where our brains were set up or programmed to have food with the highest amount of calories for survival. And this is why the moment we see the cake, our brain signals that, wow, it's a food for survival, as it has got more calories than salad. Wanting to eat desserts and sweets can be very hard to control because we are born to love sugars and fats. But it's not just calories. As I said earlier, our brains are programmed to remember every minute detail and recollect every detail associated with a person, a thing, an object, or feeling the moment you see it. For instance, here the cake. The moment you see the cake, your brain recollects all the experiences you've had with it. Right from maybe the birthday parties you've been to as a child, all the delicious cakes you've had, and also the good, joyful moments you've shared with your friends. And all of this is collected and information, and all this information goes into a single compound known as the reward value. And this reward value gets augmented or reinforced every time you see a piece of cake. So you really don't need to recollect or remember, is this a cake? What does it taste? Or is it a poison? Does it taste bad? You just know that it feels good when you have cake, and this triggers that automatic habitual response to eat it. Now, if you're trying to cut down on calories or stop yourself from eating cake, what holds you back is only your willpower. This might at times work, but on a longer run, it really doesn't. Why? Because in order to change a behavior, research says that you shouldn't focus only on your behavior, but focus on the reward. Why? Because it only depends on how rewarding a behavior is that you repeat it in future. And this is why self-control as an approach to breaking bad habits often fail. Research says that if you want to alter or edit or break a habit, you have to start by focusing on or exploring what the specific routine, that is the specific routine does for you, that help you experiment with different alternative rewards of similar fulfillment. And next, try the different rewards, and lastly, explore what triggers you to do that particular feeling. The example, the next time you feel like having a cake, you can consciously use it as a trigger to talk with your friends or listen to your favorite music. But remember, this doesn't change overnight. Studies also show that the largest surge of dopamine, however, does not come from the reward itself. It comes more from the anticipation of the reward. This can be exemplified from my situation in my life that I'm in right now. I have my CAT exam in November, and my friends have already started planning for a year-end trip in December. So this anticipation period, that is the period from June to November, will have the highest dopamine surge in me than on the day of the trip. And the higher the dopamine surge, the higher the level of motivation you get, thus which leads me to study and hopefully crack CAT with a good percentile. Coming to the last point, what stops us from repeating a mistake that we have done before? There's something called the anti-brain reward system that comprises of the habenula that is responsible for encoding information about aversive signals or loss of rewards. So there's a neurotransmitter called the GABA, which acts as an inhibitory and blocks the dopamine signaling, which shuts down the reward system. As reward system is meant to encourage behavior, the anti-reward system curbs it. And this sense of disappointment and dip in dopamine leads you to avoid repeating the same mistake in future. This is it from me to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Priyanka, for your mind-blowing speech. Great job. Now, we have 1 minute of time to give feedback for Toastmaster Priyanka's speech. Timer, please remind us when 1 minute is over.
Yes, over.
Thank you, Timer. And it's time to introduce our second speaker, Toastmaster Mahalakshmi. Before I call upon Toastmaster Mahalakshmi, let me call our evaluator, the most energetic Toastmaster, Kriti Surana. Over to you.
Thank you, T.M. Moody. It is said, in order to succeed, your fancy for success should be greater than your fear of failure. Today, Toastmaster Mahalakshmi will be delivering Level 1 Project 2 in her Pathway Presentation Mastery, which is called Evaluation and Feedback. This project has 2 speeches to be delivered. Today, Toastmaster Mahalakshmi will be delivering her first speech. The purpose of this project is to present a speech on any topic, receive feedback, and then apply the feedback on the second speech. Apart from the feedback, I will be looking on other parameters of good speech like vocal variety, eye contact, audience awareness, clarity, and gestures, and comfort level of speaker. Toastmaster Mahalakshmi has made a magnificent comeback to VTC with her activeness and beautiful smile. All the best, Toastmaster Mahalakshmi. Over to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Kriti Surana. Now, let's get into a good speech which is going to be given by our Toastmaster Mahalakshmi. Toastmaster Mahalakshmi, money makes money. Money makes money. Toastmaster Mahalakshmi, over to you.
Good evening, fellow Toastmaster and guest. I'm audible? Thank you. And I want to take a few minutes to thank my people. First, I would like to thank my mentor, Mr. Bharat Joshua, and my evaluator, and Sadhana, and Priyanka, and Saumini for helping me in this speech. Thank you. Timer, please start my timings. Shall I start? If you want to buy a things that you don't need, soon you will have to sell the things that you need. I would like to start my presentation with this quote. Yes, in a modern life, we all love to live in a very luxurious life. We have costlier mobile phones, branded clothes, bike, home, and cars. Unfortunately, everything in the form of debit or EMIs. And all the things goes in a right way before facing a dip in your financial status. Last year, in a COVID pandemic situation, my few of colleagues was very afraid, not surviving the world because of paying EMIs. Guys, money is not mandatory at all the stages, but it makes you feel comfortable and secured. I have a question. How many of you have started your investments? I'm very happy to see this number of crowd, but today my presentation will be helpful for those who are not aware of your investments. Before that, we have to know the type of income. First thing is active income, where you can earn the money by spending your energy and time. Salaried and self-employed people can under this category, and they can earn and maintain the money. They can spend the more time towards earn and maintain the money. Second, passive income, where the money works for you. No effort or little effort needed in the beginning. Afterwards, you can reap your rewards. Business people, investors comes under this category. And their majority of time will be spent towards enjoyment. As you know very well how to generate your active income, here I listed out few ideas to generate your passive income. You can create your YouTube channel, selling online courses, writing up blogs, or posting up videos. And you can start your investments through banking facility like RD and FDs, and buy a gold or renting a properties. These are absolutely risk-free, and you gain little earnings. And another option is little bit risky, and you will get more returns. First one is stock market, and second one is mutual fund. First you have to know the difference between stock market and mutual fund. For example, I want to go from Vellore to Chennai. I assume that I have two options. First one is I have to take my own car. I can drive my own. I can enjoy it because I know how to drive and what I have to choose. The second possibility is I can instead of driving, I can hire a person. I can hire a driver, and tell him just my final destination. He will take all the responsibility of behalf of me and drop me in my final destination. That is the exact difference between stock market and mutual fund. Today I am going to talk much about mutual funds. Mutual funds are investments are subjected to market risk. Read the documents which is provided before carefully start your investment. Mutual fund is nothing but it's a type of organization. They collect the money from people like you and me and then create a pool of fund. This pool of fund will be invested in different securities. Then it depend upon your scheme, and they can earn income out of it. It may be called as a dividend, interest, or gain. Then they will distribute the amount to the investors. Do you think they will distribute entire money to their investors? No, they are not doing any social service. They took some money out of it for their own purpose. This is called expense ratio. Usually expense ratio lies between 1 to 3% of your total investment. And one important person is here. It's called fund manager. Fund manager is the person who takes the decision on your money which is invested on your mutual fund. The second one is I classified 5 types of mutual funds under SEBI regulations. First one is equity mutual fund, where the collected money will be invested on only on stocks. It may be an index, Sensex, or BSE. And the second one is debt mutual fund, where the collected money invested only on debt fund, like government bonds, commercial papers. They never get invested your money on stock market. So you're a little bit risky and you can earn little bit comparative to equity mutual fund. The third one is hybrid mutual fund. I hope the name itself you can understand. They invested your money little bit could be on a equity, little bit could be on a debt fund. And the fourth one is solution oriented fund. Solution oriented fund is nothing but, for example, I want a solution after a specific time period, which is invested. I will once the time comes, I can take out the money with benefits. It's called solution oriented fund. It may be a children's education fund or children's marriage fund. The fifth one is liquid mutual fund, where you can earn higher interest comparative to bank interest, and there is no exit load for your withdrawal. You can withdraw your money at any time. There is a no locking period also. Yeah, I can some voice. Wait, I'll come to that. You have to start your investments. You have to need some requirements. That is, nowadays everything available in an online platform. You have to download the any mutual fund app like Grow Coin, and once after that you have to complete your KYC details, where they ask your phone number, email ID, photography, Aadhaar card, and PAN card. Once you verified your profile is verified, you can start your investment. And you can start your investment by selecting scheme which is trusted one. It may be a mid cap, large cap, or small cap. My recommendation is do a SIP for long run and do a liquid fund for short run. There is a no locking period for that. And next, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. This words from Warren Buffett makes me start my investment career. I leave the stage with this quote to think and start your investments. Better late than never. Thank you. Over to TM Modi.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mahalakshmi. I'm impressed on Toastmaster Mahalakshmi's speech. Thank you, Toastmaster Mahalakshmi, for your knowledgeable speech. Currently, let us have 1 minute of time to give feedback to our speaker, Toastmaster Mahalakshmi. Timer, please remind us when 1 minute is over.
Yes, over.
Thank you, timer. Now our speeches are over. It's time to take a break. What we will do now? Hmm, idea. Okay, let's play a crazy game to boost ourselves. Let me tell you the game name and its protocol. Okay? Yes. Well, the game name is Ulta Bulta Script Writers. It's funny, right? Okay. As faithful guest, if you are really interested in participating, with pleasure we are telling, just please switch on your camera or raise up your hands. This is just a game. You will really enjoy it. By the way, we could know that you are really interested and we will join you. Okay. Now, let me explain you the game. It's an it's an on the spot storytelling game. But there is a small twist. Not one person should tell the entire story. Here comes our team play. Let me give an instance. If I am the person starting a game, once upon a time there was a well. In that well, two holes are there. Then I will suddenly stop here and I will choose any one of you to continue the script on your own imagination. Like if I am telling, once upon a time there was a well. In that well, two holes are there. Over to Toastmaster Priyanka. Then Priyanka will continue the story like, yes, that two holes are made by my friends when we are playing with a driller. Then we suddenly throw the driller into the well. Then Priyanka can choose anyone to continue this. At last, if a person couldn't find anyone, like if I'm calling Ma'am Shanti, then Ma'am is not responding or some other network issue she is having, then we can stop there. That person, the person one who called Ma'am's name, should stop there the story with something like. That's all my imagination. I woke up from the dream. So you can conclude the story like this. Definitely, there will be very much funny. Can you all understand this game? If you all understand, can you show your thumbs up? Okay, thank you. A kind request to our guest. Can you all unmute yourself and tell who are ready for this game? Okay, all are there. Okay, thank you. Just raise your hands always, then only we can able to easily call your name. Else you can switch on your camera. Thank you. Okay, let me start. There was a chill breeze, dark, cloudy. The trees are on the road, or am I audible? Okay, okay. Okay. There was a chill breeze, dark clouds. The trees at the roads are blowing the air faster and faster. That time, a granny is walking on the road with a stick to go to her home. Over to Kriti. Oh, Kriti? Kriti is not here. Okay. Over to Toastmaster Keetna, ma'am.
That grandmother was a witch. She was trying to steal apples from Cinderella. Over to Darshini, Toastmaster Darshini.
But little did she know that those apples were poisonous. Over to Toastmaster Tarun.
uh, but she picked it and ate, and as a result, she died. Over to Somini. Yes, I said she ate and she died. Over
One
to
sec.
Am I audible? Okay. So
Am I audible? Am I audible? Yeah. So, just as all fairy tales have a prince, how can we leave this one without a prince? A prince enters the yard and looks for, since he is very well versed with all the herbs and plants surrounding that place, he picks up the few fruits and gives it to the Cinderella. And somehow this story is going along the lines of Snow White, but still, he gives medicines to the Cinderella and she comes back to life. Over to Sara Surana.
And they happily lived ever after. And they also had a small baby. Her name was Shreya, and she was very cute. She used to dance, and she was a very cute little girl. And after growing up, she became a astronaut. Uh, Over to Kriti Didi.
Uh,
Sarah, can you pick any other one?
yeah,
It
yeah.
is back.
No,
Okay.
actually,
Okay.
I was checking. I was not hearing. So it would be good if anyone continue.
Okay. Sarah, can you pick some other one?
Yes. Can I have Shanti ma'am?
Yes.
Can you continue the story? The
Yes.
girl became an astronaut.
Okay. You told that happily they have to live. Okay. Next they have to go for the good one. Do the all the things to peoples. Okay. Next I have changed over to Kirti Surana.
What did you say, ma'am? What was the last thing?
That is, they have to good one do the all the things to the peoples.
Okay.
That is, Sarah told happily they have to live. So happily live. Someone they have to good on doing to the all the peoples. Help or anything to the all the peoples.
Kritish is saying that the king is doing good deeds for the people.
Okay, and the people are happy by the king, and all are like they're having a afterwards they're having a carnival in their kingdom. I pass on to Priyanka.
So they were having a happy carnival in their kingdom, and suddenly there is the clown that who shows up and happens to be the clown from the movie It. I choose Saumini.
I have already said my part.
I choose Vijay sir. Sir, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Just driving. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Can
It's okay.
somebody update me where the story was?
So they happen to be in a happy carnival, all happy family, and then suddenly they have an encounter with the clown from the movie It, sir.
About the carnival?
Yeah, and then they encounter the clown from the movie It, the scary clown.
Okay, I think all of so after that the story continues this way that I'm really off my words. They're having a carnival, and the carnival has a lot of explosions and lots of fireworks, and the town, the city is full of joy and a lot of happiness all over. And the story ends here because we'll have to put a full stop somewhere. Over to the tabletop master general.
Okay. Hope you all enjoyed this game, I think so. Well, okay. This was a fun-filled and joy-filled. Thank you for all the participants. Hope you all enjoyed it lot and lot. This will create some break on you to continue our session. Okay.
No problem. No problem. அவங்க எப்ப சொல்றாங்க அன்னைக்கு போய்க்கிறேன் நானு.
Okay, let me continue. Oh, Sadhu, that's all the funny? No. Who said there is another fun-filled and thrill-filled role called Table Topics, which was played by Table Topic Master? Yes, I would like to call upon Toastmaster Kirtana over to the Table Topic Master of the Day, Toastmaster Kirtana, ma'am.
Thank you, Tia Modi. Good evening, good evening, Toastmasters and guests. The aim of the table topic session is to develop the impromptu communication skills and effectiveness to think on our feet. Not all the speeches we deliver are prepared. So the table topic session is being very important in the Toastmasters. As being your table topic master today, I fancy to give some tips on how to do our best on the table topic session. Firstly, participate. Participate until you are no more afraid of participating in the session. So if you are not afraid, you'll be able to give your speeches at your best. Secondly, consider this as a mini speech, like have a proper introduction, main body, and a conclusion. Third, to get a content for your body, I would suggest you to use famous Rudyard Kipling's 6 honest men theory. That is, you have to get the answer for what, why, when, how, where, and who. When you hear your topic, you'll be getting some incident of your life in your mind. Connect that incident and answer all these 6 questions. Then you will know what you're going to speak in your table topic session. And lastly, but not least, use the 30-second buffer to get the idea of the speech. The table topic session has time allotments. The timer will be timing the speech. 1 to 2 minutes is allotted time. You have to speak at least 1 minute to be qualified and no more than 2 minutes 30 seconds to be qualified in your speech. I would like to get some volunteers for the table topic session. Those who like to participate, please use the raise hand option. Has anybody raised your hand? Yeah, I see Darshini raising her hand. Toastmaster Darshini, can we have your speech? Okay, I'll give you a topic. Toastmaster Darshini, what do you think is the power of desire? What do you think is the power of desire? Toastmaster Darshini. Timer, you can start your time.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and my dear guests. I'm Darshini, and my topic for today is what is the power of desire? So, how do we find our desire? So, we all have this pattern of looking into our lives and seeing what we are good at, and then finally coming to a conclusion saying, this will be our desire because it meets our end goals. And sometimes people even mix desires and dreams, but let's not get into it. So, what is the power of desire? It helps you to keep in track of your life. You're not lost when you have a desire. You always know what to do the next. What will be your next step when you're doing anything? You're not lost. You're not confused. You have a plan to how to meet your desires. Number 1. Number 2 is that you will always have obstacles because there's nothing in the world that's without obstacles. You learn how to overcome your obstacles with That is another power of having a desire. Number three, whenever you have a desire, it always gets better. You never get satisfied with the end goal because that's how humans are. So you always try to improvise yourself, which also ends up with you growing as a person and professionally. So I think these are the three things that the that desire helps a person. Thank you.
Can I have few more volunteers? Please use the raise hand option. I don't see anybody raising the hands. Yeah, Mahalakshmi ma'am.
Yes, too. Yes,
Yeah.
Master.
Toastmaster Mahalakshmi, reasons to ignore everyone and follow your dreams. Reasons to ignore everyone and follow your dreams, Toastmaster Mahalakshmi. Timer?
I'll take my buffer time to think. Can I want to clarify that reason to ignore the other people's follow the desire,
Follow
right?
your dream. Yeah.
Okay, I'll take my time. Okay, time up. You can start. I'm very happy to hear this topic from Toastmaster of the Day. To follow our desire, we have to ignore some people. Yes, it is true line because I have a desire to to reduce my weight. For example, few after a few days, I started my walking and eating. I'm following a strict diet, but one time after 6 months I quit because of some people told you didn't I didn't see any results. Why you are doing, why you are worrying yourself? You can eat. My parents know, why Mahalakshmi, you are not seeing any difference, you can stop. If I stop means, if I stop in that particular point when I felt depression and no further work to do, work to do a lot. So at that time, and I ignore their other voice. I can even add my exercise extra. Within a short time, I can see my results of losing weight. I did that. I'm happily say that. And over to Toastmaster of the Day.
Kirtana, you're muted.
Yeah, I see Vijay sir has raised the hand. Toastmaster Vijay Surana, being adamant is a good or a bad trait. Being adamant is a good or a bad trait. Toastmaster Vijay Surana.
Thank you, Table Topics Master. Being adamant, good or bad? I'd rather say, is there something called good or bad? Aren't they two sides of a coin? Exists in everything around it, exists in every decisions of ours in our life. Being adamant is neither good nor bad. The situation, the thing about which you're adamant defines the goodness or the badness attached to it. If I am adamant on being what I am, true to myself, not what the world wants me to be. And I'm good. But at the same time, I'm bad to the rest of the world. I often say to my friends, we all are bad. We all are the villain in somebody's story. Doesn't it make us bad? Definitely. Be adamant with your goals. Be adamant with your desires. Be adamant with your beliefs and be adamant with your faith. That's what is gonna take you ahead. People are gonna say, nevertheless, what you do and how do you. There's a famous quote of a Hindi song which goes like this. कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे लोगों का काम है कहना, which means people will say something or the other, no matter what you choose. Being adamant for me is good. Over to the table topics master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vijay Surana. Can I see any other volunteers? Shanti, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, I try.
Yeah. Toastmaster Shanti, who or what is the biggest obstacle to achieve your desire? Who or what is the biggest obstacle to achieve your desire? Toastmaster Shanti.
Who?
Who or what is the biggest obstacle for you to achieve your dream?
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Who or what? Okay, first we have to think in, we have to achieve something. Okay, but that time we have to think that it is possible or not. We have to thinking. That time somebody, another person's telling, no, it is not possible. Similarly, they have telling means we have don't think that what is our aim we have to achieve. That goal only we have to think in our mind. Okay. Next we have go for the what is the process we go for achieving our goal. Similarly, we have to think that time also some persons are they have to telling that no, it is not possible. Okay, it is this part is unable to achieve because some obstacles will be there, some persons will be there. Similarly, they have to continuously talking and murmuring nearer our place or our surrounding, but we not consider because our what is our heart and mind telling that what is the good one we have think that way we are going for that one. Thank you. Change over to Toastmaster Sadhana.
Do we have any other volunteers or shall we wind up the session? Do we have any other volunteers? No? Shall we wind up the session? It was a good session. Thank you. Over to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Table Topic Master, for the wonderful session. You added much more fun to this session. Thank you. Guys, it's time to call our most important person in the meeting. And as a mentor, she is going to correct all the mistakes that we've done till now. Throughout the session, let me call upon a general evaluator of the day, Toastmaster Darshni, for your report. Toastmaster Darshni, over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sadhana. First off, let's go with the evaluations of the speaker. So let's call our first evaluator, Toastmaster Vijay, to evaluate Toastmaster Priyanka.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Am I audible? Thank you. Friends, before dwelling into the speech and its evaluation, let me first congratulate Toastmaster Priyanka on her successful completion of her project. Glad that you met all your speech objectives, thereby completing your project. That was a wonderful speech there, Priyanka. Your research was top notch. Let's get to the evaluation part. This project is named Research and Presentation. And you did justice to each and every letter of the project title, research and presentation. Your research was in depth and very detailed, and I should say that very, very necessary in the prevalent times. Health is taken a back seat. Understanding how our body works, how our reward system works, and why we are addicted to so many things plays a very important role. So, kudos to the topic you've selected. The only objective which is required for this level is to have an immense research and your research skills and then sharing the knowledge with the members. You've achieved a very, very, very efficient stage in that. Your research is very good and you've defined and detailed all the required principles of it in a very simple language. So it connected to the audience in a very right way. The specific use of the language with means to the dopamine and the other neurochemicals which you explained, the way the process which does and how it affects our body was very clear. The clarity of your speech was very, very good. Your comfort level throughout the speech was at ease. Your vocal variety was very clear, although it had a monotone. You could have shifted up and down, but it was clear, audible, and very, very understandable to all the members. Coming to the part where you could add and do justice on your speech level. One thing which I noted throughout your speech is that you had a constant speed in your speech. This is research. You've studied about it. The audience is not aware of it. You need to take it slow. Let them grab, let them understand what you're telling, and let that sink in. Let them absorb. So, going a little slow and giving time for people to understand and come along with you would be a very nice thing. Also, using a little pauses could do a could go a long way. Coming to the challenges, one thing which I have precisely noted here is that, I'd like to give a classic example of a mythological character in Mahabharata named Abhimanyu. Abhimanyu, while in the womb of her mother, listened how to enter Chakravyuh, but before he could, you know, hear to Krishna telling how to exit, his mother fall asleep, and he couldn't understand or hear, listen to the way exit of Chakravyuh. Precisely, most often all the speakers they prepare for a grand entry, seldom an exit. What I noted today in your speech is that you did not plan for an exit. It is very important for us to summarize everything which we have spoken and have an exit plan. That will make your speech go a long way in the memory. I remember you saying that, we create memories. This is what will retain. With this, I'd like to conclude my report. Thank you. Over to the General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vijay. Up next, we have Toastmaster Kriti Surana to evaluate Toastmaster Mahalakshmi.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Am I audible and visible? Yeah. Okay. First of all, I would like to congratulate Toastmaster Mahalakshmi for completing her level 1 project 2 speech 1. So coming to the things which stood up for me, where as the pathway was presentation mastery, you did a justice to the pathway by having a presentation as a visual aid to get audience awareness. Number 2, you had a very good eye contact and hand gestures, and you had your smile throughout the speech. Then you started your speech with a quote and ended with a quote which grabbed our attention. Now, coming to the few recommendations which I would like to give in your path is, it would have been good if you would have taken a pause or a break in middle, like slow down a bit while saying the quote in the last, which is, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. That could have been a bit slow. And coming to the next, another recommendation is, as this topic was informational, it is important about investments, you could have added some like a story, a personal story, or somewhat to somewhat a humor or something to grab our attention till the end of your speech. So to summarize, you had a presentation as a visual aid to get audience awareness. Then you had smile throughout your speech, good eye contact and hand gestures. You and few recommendations were to slow down your pace while you're speaking, and having a personal story or some humor to engage the audience till the end of the speech. Yeah, thank you. Over to the general evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Kriti. Up next, let's call our tag team. And first, we'll call our timer for today, Toastmaster Tharun.
I'm audible and visible. So I'm fancy to announce the results. So first, speaker. So team Toastmaster Priyanka, she is disqualified. Then Toastmaster Mahalakshmi, she is qualified. Then evaluator Toastmaster Vijay Surana, disqualified. Then Toastmaster Kriti Surana, she is qualified. Then table topics. Toastmaster Darshini, she is qualified. Then Toastmaster Mahalakshmi, she is qualified. Toastmaster Vijay Surana, he is qualified. And team Toastmaster Shanti ma'am, she is qualified. And this was my result. Over to Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tharun. Next, we have our counter for today, Toastmaster Shanti.
Okay, thank you very much. But this time, first time I got to evaluate. Very difficult counting that people's. Okay, but all the people's nearly very less than they have to concentrate their words. I think that okay, maximum they got not repeated. Some of the persons only they have to improve first, but Mahalakshmi also first time they have to present. That reason only some between similar like she have to used and similarly others okay no problem at all. But she is also on next speech she will improve I think. Thank you. I change over to Toastmaster Sadhana.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shanti. Next, we have Marian for today.
Thank you, General Evaluator. First up, the speaker one, Toastmaster Priyanka, introduced us to the word dopamine, which some of us know is which is a component in our brain that plays a role in how we feel pleasure. And she said she used the word stimulate, which means to prompt someone doing something. And I'd like to congratulate her on using the word advantage, pronouncing the word advantage properly. We usually say advantage, but the actual pronunciation of the word advantage is advantage. Then speaker two, Toastmaster Mahalakshmi, used the word reap, which means to gather or harvest something. And the evaluator one, Toastmaster Vijay Surana, used the mythological reference to Mahabharata. He mentioned Chakravyu. That is, for some of you who don't know, which is a circular defensive and offensive formation in the battlefield to attack soldiers who are trapped inside of it. Table Topics Master, Toastmaster Keetna, introduced us to the Rudyard Kipling 6 honest serving men theory, which asks the questions what, why, when, how, where, and who, which facilitated in giving our TT speeches. Then Toastmaster Sadhana used the word vantage point, which means a place or position affording a good view of something. Coming to the recommendations where some of us might require to improve our English usages. Firstly, the word desires was mispronounced as desires or something, but the correct pronunciation was desire. Then the word stubborn was a bit mispronounced as stubborn. I understand it might have been a tongue twist, but it's not stubborn, it's stubborn. And in one place, the words was afraid was used in place of were afraid. When we say people, it's a plural, right? When we say people, which is the subject of the sentence, when we say that, the verb also tends to be plural. So it's people were afraid, not people was afraid. Then the word category was mispronounced as category. So this is a very common mispronunciation that most of us do, which it is not category, it's category. Then, while generally speaking about facts we use the present tense of the sentence, not the past tense. In place of they take some money, the words they took some money was used. They took some money. When we use they took some money, when the action has actually been performed in real life, but we are generally speaking that people take some money. So at that place of time, we use the present tense of the sentence. Then instead of using before starting, the words before start was used. That is, instead of a continuous tense, a simple tense was used. We cannot start a sentence by saying before start I ate ice cream. We say before starting I ate an ice cream. So that's how it is. And the word obstacles was mispronounced as obstrucles. I understand that there's a common misconception and people confuse it with this very similar word obstruct. So the word obstruct and obstacles are different, although they have the same meaning. And the word of the day, fancy, was used by three people: Toastmaster Vijay Surana, Toastmaster Kriti Surana, and Toastmaster Tarun. So I'm so happy at least three people used it. Over to the general evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Samini. Now let's go to the complete general evaluation. First off, the meeting started at 4:33 today, so we could, come into the session, enter the meeting at 4:25 and make it a practice so that we start our sessions on time. That's the number one thing. Number two, SAA, Toastmaster Priyanka. She started the session with great energy today. She even had some questions to interact with all the members. So, and also she stated all the mission and vision statement properly, and she did justice to her role. Next, we have the timer, Toastmaster Tarun. Congratulations, Toastmaster Tarun, on playing the first time timer role. He did a wonderful job. He explained all the timings when he had to explain all his roles and responsibilities. He explained how he'll be screen sharing, and all that was very detailed. His report was also detailed, but he could have gone category wise, and disqualification could have been towards the end because he started off saying people were disqualified. Also, another recommendation is that you did not calculate 30 seconds of buffer time that we have. Basically, if it's 7 minutes is the red card, we push it to 7 minutes and 30 seconds. So that's how it works. It's okay. You did a great job. And the next is our R counter. Congratulations, Toastmaster Shanti, for playing the first time role, and she took up the R counter. I think it's only 2 weeks that she came inside, but she took up the role. So congratulations. She did a great job for a first time role player, but there are some recommendations that she can work on. We usually categorize and say 0 to 5 R counts and say names below. So you can make a note of it, and then next time when you play the same role, you can improvise. But for the first time, it was a great job. There's no, we're not complaining. So that was nice. She also gave recommendation, and she also explained her role very precisely. And next we have the grammarian, Toastmaster Salmini. We don't have to say anything. She gave the word of the day. She also made the session interactive, though she was a grammarian. She introduced the word of the day. She even put the word of the day in the chat window for us to look upon it. And she gave a very detailed report on all the words used throughout the meeting. And the positive that I liked is that when she told a positive remark, she named the person. But when she told the negative remark, she did not name the person. Instead, she generalized the remark. So I think we all should adopt that method to in giving recommendations for all of the role players. So that great job. And I don't have any other recommendations to give Saumini because she did an outstanding job. Next, let's go to table topic master, Toastmaster Keertana. Congratulations, Toastmaster Keertana, on playing first time table topic master role. She explained the importance of table topics. She also explained the time limits of table topics. And she also explained us how to attempt a table topics. So that is a great job that we haven't done so far. We only did it in our webinars. So I think we all can carry it on saying how to attempt a table topics session. And one recommendation that I have is that she could have given a one-line remark towards the end of each speaker. She only told, "Thank you, Toastmaster XXX." She only did that, but it was a great job. Also, I wanted to highlight another point that all her topics were related to the theme, and it wasn't very difficult. She made it very easy to people. They were very simple questions that you can think of in 30 seconds. So congratulations, Toastmaster Keertana, on that. Next, we have the evaluators for the speaker, Toastmaster Vijay for Toastmaster Priyanka. He explained all the pathways, levels, objectives, purpose, everything, and he also explained on the parameters that he'll be evaluating Toastmaster Priyanka on. He also gave examples for the challenges which he took reference from the Indian mythology, and there's no recommendation for Toastmaster Vijay because he did a flawless job. Next, we'll go to evaluator 2, Toastmaster Kriti Surana. Congratulations, Toastmaster Kriti Surana, for playing first time evaluator role. She started off with saying all the objectives, level, purpose, pathway, and everything. She also started off her remarks, evaluation, with congratulating the speaker. I forgot to say with Toastmaster Vijay Surana, he also started the evaluation with a positive note. The same was done by Kriti Surana as well. She started off the evaluation with a positive note, which set the stage for even taking in criticism. So once she did that, the stage was set to take in any kind of recommendation. And both the evaluators used the sandwich method, where they told the positives, they slipped in some negatives, and then they again told some positives, and then they summarized the whole evaluation. And Kriti as well, she stated all the parameters on which she will be evaluated. So next, we are going to Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Sadhana. She did a great job playing Toastmaster of the day. Her introduction, content, and everything was meaningful, and it went hand in hand with our theme today. And the handing over and taking it back from the role players was very smooth from her end. And I really appreciate the efforts that she took for the activity session. She's literally, done a lot of hard work on coming up with such activities, and she explained it very clearly. It was a little complicated, but she took time. She used simple language. She explained it very clearly so that all of our role players understood it. Nobody was like, "No, I did not understand." No, they didn't do that. So that is. But coming to the recommendations part, when you take a theme, please make sure from next time that you assign roles to the role players. It gives a structure to the meeting. And the roles were what happened was today the role players, they weren't able to connect majorly with the theme. Like when you give a role, they have to come up with an introduction with their role and their theme. I think very few of our role players did that, and others weren't. I'm not complaining because the flaw was in the theme, so I did not say that remark for some of our role players. What happened was you came in, you gave an introduction. I mean, you gave few lines about the theme. The role players came in, they gave the introduction on the theme as well. So it was like they were doing a little bit of your job there. And then what they did was they started with their roles. They should have combined the introduction and their role, and then they should have given an introduction. But since they weren't assigned roles, what happened was they came in, they did a little bit of your job, and then they started their job. They then handed it over to you. So that is somewhere we did not find it going smooth. And the next. Yeah, that will be the recommendation. It's not just for you, for other TMODs, for upcoming TMODs as well. Please assign roles for the meeting and for the theme. And then I have some general recommendation for everyone in today's meeting. We all could have turned on our cameras throughout the session. I know some of us are doing evaluations, including me. I turned off the camera sometimes, but we can turn on the camera and do evaluations as well. So from next meeting, we'll just try to keep our cameras on throughout the session. Number 2, the handing over of the session was not proper. When people had to hand over it to the general evaluator, they were handing it over to the Toastmaster of the day. There were a lot of lags there, so I think we all should do a lot of dry runs where we understand from where it's getting handed over and to whom it has to be handed over. People were clueless, and you don't have to tell their names if we cannot remember, but we do know their roles. So I think with practice we can do that, and I would suggest we have proper dry runs to do that. I think that will be it. Over to Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Sadhana.
Thank you for the detailed report, Darshini, and your team. Ladies and gentlemen, hope we all had a wonderful session. I give you something to carry away from this session. Listeners, if you're longing for your desire, not only longing and loving is not enough, you wanna be adamant at what you really want. You may face some difficulties because of your stubbornness attitude. It's okay, but at the end of the moment, you will definitely reach your desire. If your life I'm sorry, in your life we all would have been come across the kids, am I right? A very good example for being an adamant with your desire is children's. Yes, if you're taking a kid outside, if they saw any kind of dolls, playing kit, or ice cream, chocolates, then they will start to cry, and they will be adamant on the thing what they really need until and unless they get it. They will be adamant, but at last, who wins? They will achieve what they have been adamant for. This is the pretty most example to understand this entire thing. Thank you for all your fancy performance and precious time, Toastmasters and guests. And finally, let me take a few seconds for appreciate myself for the first TMOD role, which I individually performed this role for the first time. Toastmaster Sadhana Chidambaram, astounding performance. Congrats. A self appreciation is most important, guys. That's why. Okay, the summary of this session: be stubbornful person for what you want usefully, and be stubbornful with your desires. Don't change or leave for anyone and for any sake. Be adamant at your desire and you will really achieve it. Believe me. Thank you to all once again. Thank you for your time. Over to the President's officer.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. And indeed, kudos Sadhana on your first TMOD role. You did a splendid job there. I'm sure, looking at you, all the members of VTC would fancy to play the role in the upcoming sessions. I'm glad that the last session of this term has been a great show with two very good speakers putting on a brave show and wonderful role players doing what they best do. Now, since we do not have any guest, let me proceed with the awards if they are ready.
Toastmaster of the I say something.
Yes, please, Tarun, go ahead.
Uh, I think that if we add her time, she's qualified. I missed. Uh,
Yes, that's okay, Tarun. We corrected it and we've added her name in the ballot. Actually, a speaker has 30 seconds buffer in all the speech, so she's qualified for that. Thank you for informing.
yes, will make.
How many have you got all the ballot?
I've got 9 responses. One more person has to fill in.
Has somebody not filled in the ballot? Google form?
I,
Are you ready?
yeah, I've done it.
You have been so many, you can just scribble it on the paper, your votes.
Just one more response. Has everybody filled? Yeah.
Sadhana's doing.
Sadhana will wait for 2 minutes. You can complete it.
Okay.
And meanwhile, until then,
My name is not spelled in the ballot. Please correct it.
Yeah.
With ARE itself, we were able to identify. Don't worry.
Autocorrect. What?
right, guys, as we wait for the ballots to be counted in the final ballot, we should take home some lesson from what our General Velvet said today. And I've come to realize that, often what is seen to be a good trait, multitasking, we should abstain from doing it. Humans have been designed to unitask, not multitask. I couldn't agree to it more than today, for I've been multitasking, driving and looking, babysitting Sarah and multiple roles today. And nowhere I did justice and I was totally disconnected throughout. So a takeaway from General Valpetter's role today, we could have done better. And the key is unitask. Be present at what you're doing today. With this, let me take a break of a moment to look at the winners.
But today that Adamant is, I think that all are thinking that very bad. But today is they told us positive thoughts.
Okay. So let us have our awards. Let us start with the best table topic speaker. And the best table topic speaker is none other than the only general evaluator who can still come on the table topics and deliver speech. Toastmaster Darshini. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tag role player. The best tag role player. Who could it be else when Somini is playing the grammarian? Right? Do we even need a voting here? Congratulations, Somini, on best tag role player. Best role player. Who could it be? It is none other than our general validator, Toastmaster Darshini, taking home 2 trophies today. Congratulations, Darshini. I believe it's your first time general evaluator and you're taking home a award. Wonderful work. Best speaker. Person, the speaker who got saved by a whisker. Toastmaster Priyanka with her outstanding research and presentation. Congratulations, Priyanka, on your wonderful speech. And with this, we come to an end, the last of this term. Once again, I'd like to thank all the role players, all the leaders of the outgoing session, and wishing the best of luck to the new dawn. Future belongs to you, great leaders of tomorrow. Thank you. With this, let me close the session 82. The floor is open for general discussion, and I'll have to drive, so bye-bye. I'm just on. Sarah will be with you guys.